Since doing our study and in having the opportunity to read the work of more current researchers, I've come to the conclusion that it's probably not a safe drug. I fear particularly the effect it might have on the developing fetus.
I think you've probably got to look beyond the science with drugs and with cannabis in particular because, like I said, I mean, you can look back to reports in the 19th century to see that the drug wasn't regarded as that much of a problem. But I think it became symbolic, really. It became symbolic of kind of instant gratification or just some general symbol of moral malaise.
Here we've got examples of whole nations being made effete, and I won't mention any names of nations.
Well, why not?
But, well, because I've got a lot of friends in all of them. But there are nations who will have one soldier with one gun and 100 on the opposite side turn tail and run because they're soaked in pot.
At the end of the 70s, punk rockers were of the same opinion. They turned their backs on the music and the drugs of the previous generation.
Mods, skinheads, punks, we all wanted to be up and going. And that was the energy of the music. It wasn't laid back. You didn't want to just think, hey man, this music's fantastic. You take me to another planet, all that sort of stuff. No, they didn't any of that. And none of the cerebral stuff. It was just very much bang, 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 bang.
Punks wanted to be absolutely anti-hippie. They, first of all, didn't want to be dozy and idiots and smoky and dopey and smoke pot. But coincidentally, the music that they loved was the political rebel rock of reggae.
It's a punk connection. Interesting. Well, on the surface, the punks were very down on dope because they said, no, that was part of the whole hippie thing. And you know what they thought of hippies, you know, boring old farts and set them on fire and the rest of it. Truth of the matter is, down at the Roxy, it smelled like a ganja camp. And I know this for a fact. I'll tell you what was interesting is the punks couldn't roll their own spliffs.
Within a few years, both punk and reggae became embraced by the mainstream, albeit in a more watered-down form. These cheerful children took this song to #1 in the charts, and most of the people who bought it would have had no idea that it was really a song about smoking marijuana. In May 1979, the Conservatives swept to power on a libertarian ticket of a free market and choice for all.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister.
By now, millions of people were risking prosecution by trying cannabis for themselves. Increasingly, these people were neither rebels nor rock stars, but ordinary men and women with jobs and families. At the end of that year, the Legalise Cannabis campaign persuaded the BBC's Open Door unit to help them make a programme.
This is a reconstruction of a police raid for cannabis.
It attempted to dispel the myth that cannabis users were in any way abnormal.
There are literally millions of cannabis smokers in this country. Why do they choose to do it?
I find it preferable to alcohol or even tobacco.
I think generally just the feeling of well-being. It's just something I enjoy.
It sharpens your senses in a way. It makes you more appreciative of music and things like this, even art.
There have now been 18 major government...
One of the presenters was Andy Cornwell.
In those early days, people were jailed for simple possession, doors would get kicked in, police officers would scrape fingernails out to get minute amounts of cannabis to secure a conviction.
No big thing, but it takes a...
The programme highlighted the stories of people who'd been sent to prison for possessing the drug.
And then they charge them with that, they charge them with something else, something else, something else, and they just destroy that person, you know.
If you think the cannabis laws are wrong, you should become a member of the Legalise Cannabis campaign.
I genuinely thought that within the year, 18 months, there were going to be some meaningful changes in the law. The logic was there, as now. I simply couldn't see a problem, and I thought within 18 months, the law would be significantly changed.
But Tory libertarianism did not yet stretch to cannabis. Prohibition policies continued, and major seizures of cannabis made headline news.
It was a mutual appreciation society. I mean, the police wanted the publicity and the press wanted the story.
Tons of high-grade hashish would have fetched around £100 million, but they were watching and waiting for it long before it arrived on the dockside.
This discovery was the result of a tip-off.
Police say they've smashed the world's biggest drugs ring and arrested the Briton who ran it.
At the same time, pot smoking began to feature in comedy series of the day, as popular TV began to reflect some of its audience's own experience.
How long did you say it takes to make a day go away?
Grange Hill was one of the first children's drama series to tackle a drugs storyline.
I think drama has a great tradition of being able to take a very difficult subject that's dealt with late at night in a documentary, and they're kind of be a bit dry. And drama can take that issue and make it into a drama and bring it right into a family viewing environment.
Samo!
The theme was that cannabis was a gateway drug to heroin, and young viewers watched as over a period of time the popular character Zamo became a junkie.
Hey, Rolly, it's all right if I go through the back room.
I think at the time it was right. That's what was being told it was the right way of approaching health education. It was very adventurous. It was very brave to have a drugs issue on primetime television.
Samo! You all right?
The storyline was a good way of acknowledging the issue that heroin had suddenly become grotesquely popular again among certain sectors. It had disappeared for a long time before that, but it very quickly got absorbed into this "Just Say No" thing.
This is the highest new entry on the chart this week, the anti-drug song, which is called "Just Say No."
I thought you would just say no thanks. It wasn't very polite, was it?
The programme linked up with an American campaign inaugurated by Ronald and Nancy Reagan.
Mrs. Nancy Reagan has met some of the cast of the BBC series Grange Hill at the White House as part of the Just Say No anti-drugs campaign.
Well, you've only got to look at the numbers of young people who use drugs of all sorts these days to realise that those kinds of oversimplistic messages related to drugs generally don't work. It's the problem when you bundle such a wide range of substances which have such a huge range of effects all into one basket called drugs.
What should you do when someone offers you drugs? What will you do when someone offers you drugs? I can't hear you. Louder. That's wonderful.
In some ways, it's more dangerous to pretend